This is an urgent news bulletin. It's not a news bulletin, but it is some damn good advice to well, not even to Ludwig Drum Company, to all the drum companies. Back in the day, which now is about 35 years ago, in the early 80s, when, you know, metal and everything, and, you know, hard rock and everything was getting big, I assume that's the reason why, but power toms came. Remember the old standard, which is now we're returning to, the 8x12, the 9x13, the 10x14. Well, it seems like overnight the 8x12 became a 10x12, or even 11x12, sometimes even a 12x12 if you're Sonar and some other joints. But power toms, right? The 9x13 became a 12x13 or 11x13 or a 13x13 square. So what happened was this. The movement of the double tom bass drum mounted shell mount was moved from more toward sometimes even the front of the drum, but generally the center of the bass drum width, right? So let's say this is the bass drum. Okay. How do you like my apple sparkle? So typically here, right, if this is the bass drum, you're playing the drums here. If you're a righty, lefty, it'd be right, correct? This is where the mount originally was, here. But what happened was, with these power toms that became popular more than 30 years ago, drum companies, you've moved the mount toward the front of the bass drum, right? Playing area, resonant. You moved it here. Why? To accommodate the power toms. If you left it here and you tilted the power toms, they'd be so close to the drummer that's why you moved it to the front of the bass drum. Now with the power toms gone, or at least the whole movement, we're 87.9% back to pretty much the traditional sizes coming back into being the norm. You don't need it anymore. You don't need to put them out in the front of the bass drum, because then what happens is the toms are too far for most people. They are. They're way up there, especially with the small. Here's a suggestion too. Sorry for burning up time. Alright, so on this bass drum, God, get out. Silence. Alright, you see here. Now what happens is, this is a suggestion that I never actually made to Gibraltar. I thought about it during the NAMM show. I asked some dude if Gibraltar was there. If they had one of these guys, right? So if you extended this out about this far, you know, they do it with regular L arms, right? But if you extend this guy about maybe here, it would help solve the problem for a lot of drummers. If you leave the bass drum mount in the front of the shell, where it's become in the past 30 years, which would be good. But let's just move the center post mount back to the center of the bass drum, okay? Let's do that. What do you say? I mean, I think it's a great suggestion, I do believe. And don't get me wrong, it hasn't just dawned on me like it's never dawned on anybody. It's dawned on a lot of people. They just don't say anything. Plus, I'm fortunate enough to have a channel where I have a lot of subscribers now, so I can say these things. Again, so let's say this is the bass drum. This would be more of a traditional size. What's the ratio? This is a 9x12. Do the math. So this would still be sort of this is about, I think, a ratio of a 16x22, we'd say, right? But typically, even with the 16, and power toms not being around anymore, popular at all, slide that mount back, like I said, okay? Now, Tom, of course, did have, if I'm not mistaken, the slidey mount thingy, which was a great idea. Companies could still do. Ludwig, with your Atlas mount, if you want, you could adjust it so that center post mount goes this way. But the problem is that post goes through the bass drum. So you don't want a big slot drilled into the wood, right? Or routed. So that's a suggestion. There's a lot of suggestions that we drummers have. But I think that's the most kind of commonsensical one that a lot of drummers really, they experience it all the time, but they don't really say it. They're just like, they'll say to themselves, almost every one of us will say, gosh darn it, why is this freaking thing way up there? And the toms, you know, So that's a suggestion right off the bat I think all drum companies could use. So anyway, we're still going to play the drums, just for fun. But I know this sounds, somebody complained about my Peisty Innovations Medium Crash 18. It's a great crash, especially like B8. It sounds terrific, more at a distance. But what I'm going to put on here, just for shites and giggles, is one of my favorite crashes these days. I'd love to have an 18. This is a Sabian AA medium crash from several, well, probably 20 years ago, maybe. I had this on a kit, that my nephews played, and I just had forgotten about it. And it's a great crash. Listen to the purity of the B20 tone of this guy. Shite. Here, there we go. So watch. Not a lot of shimmery decay. Right? That's a good one. I could use a little more right? But there you go. So I got that guy in there. What else can we do? I'm about to go in the studio and record some of my stuff. What I might do is I'm going to bring a video camera in there because I'm going to show kind of what I do when I record. At least it's the new me. Here's the thing, flat out, people. I'm worried a little about my shakes. Honest to God, just a little bit. My playing, my wrists have gotten a little funky. I'm not saying like in 6 months I'll never play the drums again, but it's probably a good idea. I had my Terry Keating Greatest Hits disc, which I always implore people to buy, on eBay. I'm selling it, Terry Keating Greatest Hits, on eBay. One of the songs was on the radio, number 3. Silence, Moxie, I'll be right up to squeeze and love you soon. Okay, but here's the deal. So I'm going to go in and record some stuff that's beefcake, like. But my point is, it's going to be live, drummy action. Bonamy type stuff on it.